My husband made me clean up after his brother's family's mess right after I was discharged from the hospital. I'm 4 months pregnant with our first baby, and this pregnancy has been absolutely brutal from day one. The morning sickness isn't just in the mornings, it's all day, every day. I can barely keep food down. Last week, it got really bad. I was in the bathroom throwing up when everything went black. I passed out and smashed my head against the tile floor. My husband found me bleeding and rushed me to the ER. The doctor took one look at my vitals and admitted me immediately. I spent an entire week in the hospital on IV fluids because I was so dehydrated. They monitored the baby constantly. It was terrifying. When I was finally discharged, all I wanted was to go home, crawl into my own bed, and rest. My doctor's orders were strict. Bed rest, no stress, no physical activity. I walked through our front door and immediately froze. The living room looked like a tornado hit it. There were dirty diapers on the coffee table, pizza boxes stacked on the couch, juice stains on the carpet, toys everywhere. The kitchen sink was overflowing with dishes. That's when my husband casually mentioned he'd let his brother, sister-in-law, and their 3 kids move into our 2 spare bedrooms while I was in the hospital, without asking me, without even telling me. I just stood there in the doorway holding my discharge papers and started crying. I was so exhausted, I could barely stand. My husband looked at me like I was being dramatic. "Babe, it's not that bad," he said with a shrug. "They just got here yesterday." I wiped my tears and told him, "Fine. If it's not that bad, then you should have the entire house cleaned up before I wake up from my nap." I was so tired, I couldn't even argue anymore. I went straight to our bedroom, didn't even change clothes, and passed out on top of the covers. 4 hours later, I woke up desperately needing water. My mouth was so dry from all the hospital medications. I dragged myself to the kitchen. Every single glass we owned was dirty. Some had milk residue. Others had sticky juice. They were scattered all over the house, counters, coffee table, bathroom sink, everywhere. I looked around. They hadn't cleaned a single thing. Not one dish, not one toy picked up, nothing. So, what did I do? I started passive-aggressively washing dishes myself, tears streaming down my face, trying not to throw up in the sink. The next morning was even worse. I was trying to work from home, responding to emails when their kids started going absolutely crazy. They were screaming at the top of their lungs, banging on the walls, running up and down the hallway like it was a racetrack. And where was their mother? Locked in the guest bedroom, door closed for hours, just ignoring them completely while I dealt with the chaos. When my husband got home from work that evening, I thought he'd finally see how bad it was. Instead, he was upset with me. He said I didn't make his sister-in-law feel welcome, that I should have been helping her with the kids since she was tired. Then he had the nerve to complain about how messy the house was and how nothing got done all day. I stared at him in disbelief. This was the same house he didn't clean, the same mess he promised to take care of. That's when I completely lost it. I told him I'm too sick to have company right now, that I just got out of the hospital, that they need to leave. His response, "They're my family and I'm not kicking them out." I started crying again. I was beyond frustrated, beyond exhausted. My body physically couldn't handle this anymore. So, I pulled out my phone and called my mom right in front of him. I told her the entire story, every detail. While he stood there listening, my mom went silent for a second. Then, she said, "I'm coming over right now. Pack a bag." 30 minutes later, my mom showed up with all 3 of my older brothers. My husband's face went pale when he saw them walk in. My mom looked around at the disaster, looked at my husband, and said in the calmest, coldest voice I've ever heard, "How long have they been living here?" My husband stuttered. "Just yesterday I told you." My brother-in-law laughed from the couch. "Dude, stop lying. It's been 2 weeks." The room went silent. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My husband had been hiding them here for 2 weeks, while I was fighting for my baby's life in the hospital. Right then I knew my baby and I could have died while he was playing house with his brother's family, and what came out of my mouth next made sure he'd never forget it. I looked straight at him and said, "Get your phone out, right now." He just stared at me like I was crazy. "What? Get your phone out," I repeated, louder this time. My voice was shaking, but I didn't care. "I want you to start taking pictures." "Pictures of what?" he asked, still not moving. "Of every single room in this house," I said. "Every dirty diaper on my coffee table, every juice stain on my carpet, every disgusting dish in my sink, every toy that's been thrown around like this is a damn daycare. Take pictures of all of it." My mom crossed her arms, watching. My brother stood behind her like a wall. My husband's face was getting red now. "Why would I?" "Because," I cut him off. "When your entire family asks why I'm leaving you, I want proof of what you let happen to our home while I was in the hospital fighting to keep our baby alive. So take the pictures." Now, he didn't move, just stood there with his mouth half open. So I pulled out my own phone and started doing it myself. I walked into the kitchen and took a photo of the sink piled so high with dishes that I couldn't even see the faucet. I took a photo of the rotting pizza in a box on the counter that had been there so long it was growing mold. I took a photo of the diaper, an actual used diaper, sitting on top of the microwave. "Babe, you're being ridiculous," my husband said, following me. "It's just a little mess." "A little mess?" I spun around so fast he actually stepped back. "There is a diaper on our microwave, where we heat our food." My sister-in-law came out of the guest room then, looking annoyed. "What's all the yelling about?" I turned to her and held up my phone. Smile. I'm documenting everything. She looked at my husband. What is her problem? Her problem, my mom said, stepping forward, is that you and your family destroyed her home while she was hospitalized, and you didn't even have the decency to clean up after yourselves. We've been busy with the kids, the sister-in-law said. Like that explained everything. Busy, I repeated. You've been locked in that bedroom all day. I heard you in there watching TV while your kids were tearing my house apart. She scoffed. I needed rest. You needed rest, I said slowly. You needed rest. I turned to my husband. I was in the hospital for a week, on an IV, because I was so dehydrated from vomiting that I passed out and cracked my head open on our bathroom floor, and she needed rest. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady now. I'm going to finish taking pictures of every destroyed room in this house. Then I'm going to start moving their belongings to the curb. All of it. Every suitcase, every bag, every toy, everything. You can't do that, my brother-in-law said from the couch. Still holding his phone like this was all just entertainment to him. Watch me, I said. I walked past him into the first guest room and grabbed the biggest suitcase I could see. It was heavy as hell, but I didn't care. I dragged it through the hallway, past everyone standing there staring, and straight out the front door. I dropped it on the lawn with a loud thud. Hey, the sister-in-law yelled. That's my stuff. Not anymore, I called back, already heading back inside for the next one. My husband tried to grab my arm. Stop, I jerked away from him. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. Don't you ever tell me to calm down again. My oldest brother stepped forward. She said she's moving your family's stuff out. So, unless you want us to help speed up the process, I suggest you back up. My husband looked at my 3 brothers, all of them bigger than him, and actually stepped back. I went back into that guest room and started grabbing everything I could carry. Bags of clothes, toys, shoes, everything. My brothers saw what I was doing and, without a word, started helping. They grabbed suitcases, bags, even started unplugging chargers from the walls. Within 10 minutes, the entire front lawn was covered with their belongings. Suitcases, bags, toys, strollers, everything just sitting there in a big pile. The sister-in-law came outside screaming, "Are you insane? You can't just throw our stuff outside." I turned to her with my phone still in my hand. Actually, this is my house. My name is on the mortgage, not yours. But let me ask you something, I said, stepping closer to her. Did you think it was acceptable to destroy someone else's home while they were in the hospital? She didn't answer. Did you think it was okay to leave dirty diapers on the furniture? To let your kids run wild and break things? To lock yourself in a room and ignore your own children while I had to deal with them? Still nothing. Answer me, I said. We didn't destroy anything, she finally muttered. Really? I held up my phone and started swiping through the photos. What do you call this and this and this? She looked at the pictures and her face went red. That's not that bad. Not that bad, I repeated. I turned the phone around so everyone could see. There was a photo of her kids' handprints in what looked like chocolate syrup all over our white walls. You let your kids do this to my walls, and you think it's not that bad? My mom walked up next to me and looked at the photo. Then she looked at the sister-in-law. How old are your children? 5, 7, and 9, she said quietly. 5, 7, and 9, my mom repeated. Old enough to know better. Old enough to be taught to respect other people's homes. The sister-in-law tried to say something, but my mom held up her hand. I don't want to hear it. You came into this woman's home while she was fighting for her baby's life, and you treated it like a garbage dump. You should be ashamed. I looked at my husband, who was standing there looking like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Did you know? I asked him. Did you know how bad it was? He didn't answer. Did you know they were letting the kids trash our house and you just didn't care? Or did you seriously not notice? I was at work most of the time, he said weakly. Most of the time, I said, but not all the time. You came home every night. You saw this, and you didn't think to clean it up before I got home from the hospital. I thought they would. You thought wrong. I cut him off. About everything. You thought it was okay to let them move in without asking me. You thought it was okay to hide it from me for 2 weeks. You thought it was okay to let them destroy our home. You were wrong about all of it. I pulled out my phone again. Now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to send these pictures to everyone. Your mom, your dad, your aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. Don't, he said quickly. Why not? I asked. You weren't ashamed of it before. Why are you ashamed now? Because you know how bad it looks. I finished for him. You know that when people see what you allowed to happen, they're going to think you're a terrible husband. And you are. I started typing out a message. Group text to his entire family. Every aunt, every uncle, every cousin, his parents, everyone. Wait, my husband said, his voice almost panicking now. Please don't. I looked up at him. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't. He couldn't. He just stood there, opening and closing his mouth like a fish. So I hit send. The message went out with 6 photos attached. The dirty diapers on the coffee table, the destroyed walls, the overflowing sink, the moldy pizza, all of it. Within seconds, my phone started buzzing with responses. I didn't even read them. I just turned to my mom. I'm ready to go, I said. She nodded. Get your things. I walked back into the house, into our bedroom, and started throwing clothes into a bag. My hands were shaking, but I kept going. Underwear, shirts, pants, my phone charger, my laptop, everything I needed. My husband appeared in the doorway. Can we please just talk about this? No, I said without looking at him. Please, he said. I messed up. I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I I stopped packing and turned to look at him. Really look at him. Do you have any idea what you've done? I let them stay without asking, he said. I should have asked first. It's not just that, I said. You hid them here for 2 weeks while I was in the hospital. 2 weeks. You visited me exactly 3 times. 3 times in 7 days. Do you know what I thought? I thought you were working extra shifts to cover the hospital bills. I thought you were taking care of the house. I thought you were worried about me and the baby. His face went pale. But you weren't, I continued. You were here playing happy family with your brother while I was hooked up to an IV, terrified that I was going to lose our baby. It wasn't like that, he tried to say. Then what was it like? I asked. Explain it to me. Explain how you thought any of this was okay. He couldn't. He just stood there. That's what I thought, I said. I zipped up my bag and walked past him. My brothers had already put my stuff in my mom's car. I walked outside and saw the entire neighborhood had come out to watch. The sister-in-law was trying to gather their stuff from the lawn, looking absolutely humiliated. My brother-in-law was on his phone, probably trying to find a motel. I got in the car and didn't look back. My mom drove me to her house and set me up in my old bedroom. It looked exactly the same as when I left for college. Same bed, same posters on the wall, same everything. I sat down on the bed and just stared at the wall for a long time. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages from my husband's family. Most of them were angry at him. A few were asking what happened. His mother called me 17 times before I finally blocked her number. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything. About how he chose his brother over me. How he let them destroy our home. How he lied about how long they'd been there. But what really got me was something else. Something I realized as I lay there staring at the ceiling. If he could do this now, what would he do after the baby was born? Would he let his brother's family move in again? Would he let them treat our child the way they treated our home? Would he choose them over us every single time? The answer was clear. Yes, he would. And I wasn't going to let that happen. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my husband. Just one text. I'm sorry. Please come home. I kicked them out. I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to believe him, wanted to think that maybe he'd finally realized how badly he'd messed up. But then I remembered something. I remembered him saying, "They're my family and I'm not kicking them out," when I begged him to make them leave. So what changed? What made him suddenly willing to kick them out now? Me leaving. That's what changed. He didn't kick them out because it was the right thing to do. He didn't kick them out because he realized how much he'd hurt me. He kicked them out because I left and he panicked. I deleted the message without responding. Around noon, there was a knock on my mom's door. I heard voices downstairs, then my mom calling up to me. "Honey, your husband is here." I came down the stairs and found him standing in the living room holding flowers. Generic grocery store roses. Probably grabbed them on the way over. "Can we talk?" he asked. I looked at my mom. She nodded and left the room, but I could tell she was just in the kitchen listening. "What do you want?" I asked him. "I want you to come home," he said. He held out the flowers. "I'm sorry. I really am. I kicked them out last night. The house is clean. I stayed up all night cleaning everything." "Good for you," I said. He looked confused. "I thought you'd be happy." "Happy?" I repeated. "You want me to be happy that you finally cleaned up the mess you let happen in the first place?" "I made a mistake," he said. "Can't we move past this?" "A mistake," I said slowly. "You think this was just a mistake? I should have asked before letting them stay," he said. "I get that now." "You still don't get it," I said. "This isn't about you not asking permission. This is about you choosing your brother over me and our baby. This is about you lying to me for 2 weeks. This is about you letting them destroy our home and then expecting me to clean it up right after I got out of the hospital." "I didn't expect you to clean it up," he said. "Yes, you did," I shot back. "You saw me washing dishes and you didn't stop me. You saw me exhausted and crying and you complained that I wasn't being welcoming enough to your family." He flinched. "Do you know what the worst part is?" I asked. "It's not even the mess. It's not even the lying. It's that when I needed you most, when I was in the hospital scared out of my mind that I was going to lose our baby, you weren't there. You visited me 3 times in 7 days. 3 times. I had to work," he said. "Bullshit," I said. "You had time to host your brother's entire family. You had time to let them take over our house. But you didn't have time to visit your wife in the hospital?" He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "Get out," I said. "Please," he said. "Just come home. We can work through this." "No," I said firmly. "We can't. Because I don't trust you anymore. I don't trust that you'll put me and this baby first. I don't trust that you won't pull something like this again." "I won't," he promised. "I don't believe you," I said. He stood there for a moment, then set the flowers down on the coffee table. "I love you," he said quietly. "If you loved me," I said, "you never would have done this in the first place." He left. I watched him walk to his car and drive away. Then I picked up the flowers and threw them in the trash. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about something my mom said earlier. She said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." My husband had shown me exactly who he was. Someone who would choose his brother over his wife. Someone who would lie and hide things. Someone who would let our home be destroyed and expect me to deal with it. I believed him, and I knew I deserved better. But what I didn't know yet was just how much worse it was going to get before it got better. Because the next morning, when I checked our bank account to transfer some money for groceries, I found something that made my blood run cold. There were transfers. Lots of them. Thousands of dollars being sent to an account I didn't recognize. Going back months. I called the bank immediately. "Can you tell me who this account belongs to?" I asked, reading off the account number. The representative checked. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't give you that information. But I can tell you the name on the transfer memo." "What does it say?" "It says, for Brian, rent help. Brian, my brother-in-law. My husband had been sending him money." Our money. Money we'd been saving for the baby's nursery. For months. I hung up the phone and just stared at the wall. He hadn't just let them move in without asking. He'd been financially supporting them for months without telling me. How much was gone? I pulled up the full account history and started adding up the transfers. $2,800 in June, $3,200 in July, $2,500 in August, $3,000 in September. Over $11,000. Gone. That was supposed to be for the crib, the changing table, the car seat, all the things we needed for the baby. And he'd just given it away to his brother without even telling me. I called my mom downstairs, showed her the bank statements. She didn't say anything for a long moment. Then she picked up her phone and called someone. "Who are you calling?" I asked. "Your brother David," she said. "He knows a good lawyer." That's when it really hit me. This wasn't just a rough patch. This wasn't something we could work through with counseling or couples therapy. This was divorce. I spent the rest of that day in a daze. My brother David came over with his wife, who was a family law attorney. She sat me down at the kitchen table and walked me through everything. "First thing you need to do," she said, "is protect your assets. Do you have any accounts in just your name?" "No," I said. "Everything's joint." "Okay, we need to change that. Tomorrow, you're going to go to the bank and open a new account. Take half of what's left in the joint account and move it. Don't take more than half, or he could claim you're hiding assets. But you need to protect yourself." "What about the house?" I asked. "Is your name on the mortgage?" "Yes, both of our names." "Good. That gives you rights to the property. Has he tried to contact you since yesterday?" "He came by with flowers," I said. "I told him to leave." She nodded. "Document everything. Every text, every call, every interaction. If he tries to contact you, respond in writing. Don't agree to anything verbally." This was really happening. I was really going to divorce my husband. That night, I lay in bed with my hand on my stomach. The baby was moving, little flutters that I'd only started feeling in the past few weeks. "It's going to be okay," I whispered. "I'm going to make sure you're okay." The next morning, I did exactly what David's wife told me to do. I went to the bank and opened a new account in just my name. I transferred exactly half of what was left in our joint account, which wasn't much, after my husband had drained it to support his brother. Then I went to the house. I knew he'd be at work. I had my brothers come with me just in case. I walked in and stopped. The house was clean. He hadn't been lying about that. Every dish was washed. Every toy was gone. Every surface was spotless. But that didn't change anything. I went straight to our bedroom and started looking. If he'd been hiding money transfers from me, what else had he been hiding? I found it under the bed. A suitcase. Not mine. I pulled it out and opened it. Clothes. Women's clothes. But not mine and not my size. There was a makeup bag. Perfume I didn't recognize. A hairbrush with long dark hair tangled in it. My sister-in-law's stuff. They'd been sleeping in our bed. Not just visiting during the day. Actually sleeping in our bed while I was in the hospital. I felt sick. I grabbed the suitcase and dragged it out of the bedroom, down the hallway, through the living room, and straight out the front door. My brothers watched me heave it onto the lawn. "What is that?" one of them asked. "Evidence," I said. I went back inside and looked for more. Found a man's razor in our bathroom that wasn't my husband's brand. Found a toothbrush that wasn't ours. Found kids' clothes stuffed in the back of the guest room closet. They hadn't just stayed here for 2 weeks. They'd been living here. Actually living here while I was fighting for my life in the hospital. I took pictures of everything. The suitcase, the clothes, the toiletries, all of it. Then I called a locksmith. "I need all my locks changed," I told him. Today. He came within 2 hours. While he was working, I had my brothers help me move everything my husband owned into the garage. His clothes, his shoes, his laptop, everything. Then I had them help me move his brother's family's remaining belongings out there too. Anything they'd left behind went straight to the garage. By the time the locksmith finished, the house looked completely different. No trace of my husband, no trace of his family, just me. I changed the codes on the security system, set up cameras at every entrance. Front door, back door, garage, windows, everything. Then I waited. He came home from work around 6. I watched on the security camera as he tried his key in the front door. It didn't work. He tried again. Still nothing. Then he noticed the garage. It was cracked open slightly. He walked over and pulled it up. I watched his face on the camera as he saw all his stuff piled in there along with his brother's belongings. He pulled out his phone and called me. I didn't answer. He texted, "Why did you change the locks?" I texted back, "Check the garage. I see my stuff. What's going on? You're not welcome here anymore. Neither is your family. This is my house too. Then you can explain to a judge why you let your brother's family sleep in our bed while I was in the hospital." He didn't respond to that. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, "Can we please talk about this in person?" "No. All communication goes through my lawyer now." I sent him David's wife's contact information and blocked his number. Then I sat down on the couch in my clean, quiet house and cried. Not because I was sad, because I was relieved. For the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. The next morning, I woke up to someone banging on my door. I checked the security camera. It was my mother-in-law. She was screaming at the camera, "Open this door right now. Let me talk to my son." I pulled out my phone and called the police non-emergency line. "There's someone on my property refusing to leave." Then I pulled up the doorbell camera footage on my laptop, the footage I'd been collecting for the past few days. I scrolled back to 3 days ago. There it was, my sister-in-law in the living room, teaching her kids something. I turned up the volume. "And if you break something," she was saying, laughing, "just hide it behind the couch. She'll never know." The kids giggled. One of them picked up a picture frame off the mantel and threw it on the floor. It shattered. They all laughed. "Perfect," the sister-in-law said. "Now go hide it." I felt my hands shaking as I watched. She had been teaching them. actively teaching them to destroy my home and hide the evidence. I saved that clip. Then I scrolled through more footage. Found another clip of her going through my drawers in the bedroom. She picked up my jewelry box, opened it, and took out my grandmother's necklace, the one that had gone missing. She held it up to the light, admired it, then slipped it into her pocket. I saved that clip too. By the time the police arrived, I had a folder full of videos. The officer knocked on my door and I opened it. "Ma'am, there's a woman out front who says this is her son's house and you won't let her in." "It's my house," I said. "My name is on the mortgage. She's my husband's mother, but we're separated and she has no legal right to be here. Can you prove it's your house?" I showed him my driver's license with this address and the mortgage paperwork with my name on it. He nodded. "All right, I'll ask her to leave." "Wait," I said. "I want to show you something first." I pulled up the videos on my laptop, showed him the clip of my sister-in-law teaching the kids to break things, showed him the clip of her stealing my necklace. "Do you want to press charges?" he asked. "Not yet," I said, "but I want it documented, in case I need it later." He wrote everything down. Then he went outside and I watched on the camera as he talked to my mother-in-law. She was gesturing wildly, clearly trying to convince him I was the crazy one, but he just shook his head and pointed to his patrol car. She left, but not before turning back to the camera and screaming, "You're going to regret this. Those are my grandchildren, you're hurting." I played that video for my mother when she came over later. She watched it in silence. Then she said, "Play the one with the necklace again." I did. She watched the sister-in-law slip my grandmother's necklace into her pocket. Then she stood up. "Where are you going?" I asked. "To make some calls," she said. "To who?" "Everyone," she said simply. Within an hour, my mom had sent those videos to every single person in my husband's family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, everyone. His phone started blowing up. I know because he tried to call me from different numbers. His mom's phone, his dad's phone, his brother's phone. I didn't answer any of them. But I did check the Ring camera when someone came to the door later that night. It was my father-in-law. He stood there looking exhausted. "I know you can hear me," he said to the camera. "I just want to apologize. I had no idea. None of us did. What Brian and his wife did to your home, it's inexcusable." He paused. "My wife is upset because she thinks you're keeping her from her grandchild, but I told her that's not what's happening. You're protecting your child. That's what good mothers do." He set something down on the porch. "I found this in Brian's truck. I think it belongs to you." Then he left. I waited a few minutes before opening the door. On the porch was a small box. Inside was my grandmother's necklace. I sat down right there on the porch steps and held it in my hands. It was the only thing I had left of her, and my sister-in-law had stolen it like it was nothing. The next day, I got a call from an unknown number. Usually I wouldn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Hi, is this Mrs. Anderson?" "Yes, who is this?" "This is Janet from HR at Mitchell & Sons Construction. Your husband works here." My stomach dropped. "Is everything okay?" "Well, that's what I'm calling about. He's been telling people here that you had a mental breakdown and kicked out his homeless brother and his family. He's been getting a lot of sympathy from coworkers. Even took up a collection to help his brother find a new place." "He what?" "A collection. People have donated over $800 so far." I was so angry I could barely speak. That's not what happened." "I figured as much," Janet said, "which is why I'm calling. I don't normally get involved in employees' personal lives, but my sister went through something similar. Her husband told everyone she was crazy while he was the one making her life hell. So if you have any proof of what actually happened, I think some people here would like to see it." "I have proof," I said. "I have videos. Can you send them to me?" I sent her everything. The videos of the destroyed house, the pictures of the dirty diapers on the furniture, the clip of the sister-in-law teaching the kids to break things, the hospital discharge papers showing I'd been admitted for severe dehydration, and most importantly, the bank statements showing my husband had been sending his brother thousands of dollars for months without telling me. Janet called me back an hour later. "I showed these to our boss," she said. "He's not happy. Your husband is in his office right now. What's going to happen? I can't say for sure, but lying to coworkers and essentially running a scam with that collection, that's not going to go over well." She paused. "Also, we're sending the collection money back to everyone who donated, and we'll make sure they all know why." After I hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. Not hope that my husband would change. Not hope that we'd get back together. Hope that people would finally see the truth, that I wasn't the crazy, dramatic wife he was making me out to be. That night, I got an email from my husband's boss. It was short. "Mrs. Anderson, I wanted to reach out personally to apologize for any distress this situation may have caused you. Your husband's behavior was unacceptable and has been addressed. I hope you and your baby are doing well." Addressed. That probably meant he got fired, or at least seriously disciplined. Good. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Because that afternoon, something happened that changed everything. I was sitting in my mom's living room when I heard a crash from outside. I looked out the window and saw a car parked at the curb, my brother-in-law's car. He was trying to climb through my back window. The security system immediately sent alerts to my phone. I called 911 first, then I called my brothers. My brothers arrived before the police did. I watched on the security camera as they literally dragged my brother-in-law off my property. He was screaming about how I couldn't keep him out, how he had had rights, how this was his family's house too. "This isn't your house," my oldest brother yelled back. "You don't live here. You never lived here. I'm just trying to get my stuff." "What stuff? Everything you left is in the garage, and you're lucky she hasn't pressed charges for breaking and entering." The police showed up then. They took one look at the security footage showing my brother-in-law trying to force the window open and arrested him on the spot. As they were putting him in the patrol car, he looked straight at the camera and yelled, "This is all your fault. We had nowhere to go." I saved that video too. My brother stayed with me for the rest of the night. We sat in the living room and talked. "I can't believe he tried to break in," my youngest brother said. "I can," my oldest brother replied. "Guys like that always think the rules don't apply to them." "How's the baby?" my middle brother asked me. I put my hand on my stomach. "Baby's fine. Kicking up a storm, actually." "Good," he said. "That's good." We sat in silence for a moment. "You know you did the right thing, right?" my oldest brother said, leaving him. "I know," I said, "but it still hurts." "Of course it hurts," he said. "But you're stronger than him. You're going to get through this." I wanted to believe him. And honestly, for the first time in weeks, I kind of did. The next morning, I woke up to more banging on my door. I checked the camera and saw my husband standing there, looking absolutely destroyed. "Please," he said to the camera, "please just let me talk to you." I opened the door but kept the chain lock on. "What do you want?" "I want to fix this," he said. His eyes were red. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Please, I'll do anything." "Did you know your brother tried to break into the house yesterday?" His face went pale. "What?" "He tried to climb through the back window. He got arrested." "Oh my God," he breathed. "Did you send him here?" I asked. "No, I swear I didn't. I told him to stay away from you." "Right. Like I'm supposed to believe anything you say now." He slumped against the doorframe. "I know I messed up. I know I don't deserve another chance. But please, for the baby's sake, can we try counseling or something?" I stared at him, really looked at him, and I saw something I'd never seen before. Not remorse, not guilt, panic. He wasn't sorry about what he did. He was sorry about the consequences. "No," I said. "Please, no?" I repeated firmly. "I'm going to say this once. So listen carefully. I'm filing for separation. My lawyer will be in contact with you about visitation rights for the baby after they're born. But you and I, we're done." "Don't say that," he begged. "Please don't say that." "It's already done," I said. "The papers are being filed this week." I closed the door and locked it. He stood out there for another 10 minutes before finally leaving. I called David's wife immediately. "I'm ready to file." "Okay," she said. "Let me walk you through what's going to happen." She explained everything. How the separation would work, how we'd divide assets, how custody would work once the baby was born. "One more thing," I said. "I found out he's been sending his brother money from our joint account for months. Can we get that back?" "We can try," she said. "Do you have records of the transfers?" "Every single one." "Good. Send those to me. We'll include it in the filing." I spent the rest of that day gathering every piece of evidence I had. Bank statements, hospital records, security footage, text messages, emails, everything. By the time I was done, I had a folder 3 inches thick of documentation. David's wife looked through it all and just shook her head. "This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've ever seen," she said. "He doesn't have a leg to stand on." "Good," I said. The papers were filed the next Monday. My husband was served at work. I know because his mom called me from her number immediately after, screaming about how I was destroying her family. I hung up and blocked her number too. That night, my husband showed up at my mom's house. My brothers were already there, like they knew he'd come. "I just want to talk," he said when my oldest brother answered the door. "She doesn't want to talk to you," my brother replied. "This is between me and my wife. Your soon-to-be ex-wife," my brother corrected. "And she's made it clear she doesn't want contact with you. So you need to leave before I call the police. You can't keep me from her." "Actually, we can. It's called trespassing. Now get off this property before I make you." My husband looked past him, trying to see into the house. "I know she's in there. Just let me talk to her." That's when I came to the door. "You want to talk? Fine. Let's talk." I stepped outside, and my brothers immediately flanked me. "You got your divorce papers," I said. "What else is there to talk about?" "I want to go to marriage counseling," he said desperately. "I want to make this work." "Why?" I asked. "Why do you want to make it work now?" "Because I love you." "No, you don't," I said calmly. "You love the idea of me. You love having a wife who takes care of the house and doesn't question you. But you don't love me as a person. Because if you did, you never would have done what you did. That's not true, isn't it? You let your brother's family live in our house for 2 weeks without telling me. You sent them over $11,000 of our money without asking me. You let them sleep in our bed while I was in the hospital. You lied to your coworkers and said I had a mental breakdown. Which part of that says you love me?" He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "That's what I thought," I said. "Go home, sign the papers, and let me move on with my life." "What about the baby?" he asked quietly. "What about it?" "I want to be involved. I want to be a father." "Then you should have thought about that before you chose your brother over us," I said. "But don't worry, you'll get visitation rights. My lawyer is making sure of it. You'll get to see your child, just not me." I turned to go back inside. "Wait," he said. I stopped but didn't turn around. "For what it's worth," he said, "I really am sorry." I looked back at him. "Me too. I'm sorry I wasted 5 years of my life on you." Then I went inside and closed the door. I heard him arguing with my brothers for a few more minutes before finally leaving. That night, lying in bed, I felt the baby kick again. Strong kicks this time, like the baby was trying to tell me something. "I know," I whispered, rubbing my stomach. "I know. We're going to be okay." And for the first time in months, I actually believed it. The next few weeks were a blur of legal proceedings, doctor's appointments, and trying to figure out how to be a single mom. My husband tried to contact me a few more times, through mutual friends, through his parents, even through a letter he dropped off at my mom's house. I didn't respond to any of it. My lawyer had made it clear that all communication had to go through her, and I was sticking to that. Then one day, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Usually I wouldn't answer, but I was expecting a call from the doctor about some test results. Hello? Is this the woman who threw my family out on the street? I froze. It was my sister-in-law. Who is this? I asked, even though I knew. You know who this is. You ruined our lives. We lost everything because of you. You lost everything because you destroyed my home and stole from me, I said calmly. We never stole anything. I have you on camera taking my grandmother's necklace. She went quiet for a second. Then, that was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I repeated. Just like teaching your kids to break my things was a misunderstanding. I have video of that too. I cut her off. So unless you want me to press charges for theft and destruction of property, I suggest you lose my number. You can't do this to us. We have kids. Then maybe you should have thought about your kids before you destroyed someone else's home. I said, goodbye. I hung up and immediately blocked that number too. But something she said stuck with me. We lost everything. I called my husband's dad. He was the only one from that family who'd shown any remorse. Hello? Hi, it's me. I just got a call from your daughter-in-law. He sighed heavily. I'm sorry. I told them to leave you alone. She said they lost everything. What did she mean? They got evicted from their apartment? He explained. Turns out the money your husband was sending them was supposed to be going to rent, but they were spending it on other things. When the money stopped coming, they couldn't pay and got evicted. Where are they now? Last I heard, they were at a motel, but they can't afford to stay there long. And they think that's my fault, I said. They think everything is everyone else's fault, he said tiredly. That's always been their problem. I'm sorry you got dragged into their mess. It's not your fault, I said. I know, but I still feel responsible. He's my son. Can I ask you something? Of course. Did you know about the money he was sending them? He was quiet for a long moment. I knew he was helping them out. I didn't know it was that much or that he was hiding it from you. If I'd known, I would have stopped him. Thank you for being honest. For what it's worth, he said. I think you're doing the right thing. My son made his choice. Now he has to live with it. After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of closure. Not with my husband, but with his family. His dad got it. He understood that this wasn't about me being cruel or vindictive. It was about me protecting myself and my baby. That night, there was another knock on the door. I checked the camera and saw my husband standing there again. But this time, he had someone with him. His brother. I called my brothers immediately. Then I called the police. My brothers got there first. I watched on the camera as my oldest brother stepped outside. You need to leave, he said. We just want to talk to her, my husband said. She doesn't want to talk to you, either of you. My brother-in-law stepped forward. This is all her fault. She turned my brother against me. She threw us out with nowhere to go. You destroyed her house. My brother cut him off. You let your kids trash the place. Your wife stole from her. And now you're mad because there were consequences? She didn't have to kick us out. Yeah, she did. That's when the police arrived. The same officer who'd been there before. We're going to have a problem here? He asked. They're refusing to leave, my brother said. The officer turned to my husband and brother-in-law. This property belongs to her mother. You're not welcome here. If you don't leave now, I'll have to arrest you for trespassing. My brother-in-law started to argue, but my husband grabbed his arm. Let's just go. Let's go, my husband said more firmly. They left, but not before my brother-in-law turned back and yelled, You haven't heard the last of this. The officer wrote up a report and suggested I get a restraining order. Against both of them? I asked. At least against the brother-in-law, he said. He seems unstable. I added it to my lawyer's list of things to do. By the end of the week, I had a temporary restraining order against my brother-in-law. He couldn't come within 500 feet of me or my mom's house. My husband, I left alone, for now. He hadn't done anything that warranted a restraining order yet, but I was keeping track, just in case. The following Monday, I had a doctor's appointment. Everything with the baby was fine. Perfect, actually. My blood pressure was back to normal, I was keeping food down, and the baby was growing right on track. Whatever you're doing, my doctor said, keep doing it. I left my husband, I said. She looked up from her chart. Well then, definitely keep doing that. I laughed for the first time in weeks. I'm serious, she said. The amount of stress you were under before was dangerous. For both you and the baby. If you're feeling better now, that's telling you something. She was right. I was feeling better. Not great, but better. That night, I was lying in bed when my phone buzzed with a notification from the doorbell camera at my house, the one I still owned half of, even though I hadn't been there in weeks. I opened the app and saw my husband standing at the front door. It was almost midnight. He looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair was a mess, and he just stood there staring at the door like he was trying to figure out how he'd gotten there. Then he did something I didn't expect. He sat down on the porch steps and started crying. Not just tears. Full-on sobbing. His whole body was shaking. I watched him for a few minutes, waiting to feel something. Sympathy, maybe, or sadness, but all I felt was tired. I turned off the camera feed and went to sleep. The next morning, I checked the camera again. He was gone, but there was something on the porch. I zoomed in. It was a letter. I debated whether to go get it. Part of me wanted to just leave it there and forget about it, but curiosity won. I drove over to the house early, before he'd be awake. The letter was in a white envelope with my name written on it in his handwriting. I opened it standing right there on the porch. I don't expect you to forgive me, me," it started. "I don't even expect you to read this, but I need to say it anyway. I was wrong. About everything. I chose my brother over you when I should have been protecting you. I let them destroy our home. I lied to you. I hid money from you. I wasn't there when you needed me most. I don't have an excuse. There is no excuse for what I did. My brother called me while you were in the hospital and said they were getting evicted. He begged me to help, and I thought I could fix it. I thought I could help him and still take care of you. But I couldn't, and instead of admitting that, I lied. I hid them in our house. I let them stay even though I knew it was wrong. I kept thinking you'd understand. That once you got home and saw how much they needed help, you'd forgive me for not asking first. I was an idiot, and I kept being an idiot. Even after you left, I still thought I could fix it. I thought if I just apologized enough or cleaned the house or sent you flowers, everything would go back to normal. But that's not how this works. I broke your trust. I broke us. I'm not writing this to ask you to come back. I know that's not going to happen. I'm writing this because you deserve to know that I know what I did wrong. You deserved a husband who put you first, who protected you, who was honest with you. I wasn't that person, and I'm sorry. I hope you and the baby are healthy. I hope you find someone who treats you the way I should have. I'm signing the divorce papers. My lawyer will send them to yours this week. I won't bother you anymore. It wasn't signed. I read it 3 times, standing there on the porch in the early morning light. Then I took out my phone and took a picture of it, not because I believed him, not because it changed anything, but because it was proof that he finally understood. I folded the letter back up, put it in my pocket, and drove back to my mom's. "He sent you a letter?" she asked when I told her. "Yeah." "What did it say?" "That he's sorry, that he knows he messed up, that he's signing the papers." She studied my face. "How do you feel?" "Relieved," I said, and I was. It's finally over. But it wasn't over. Not quite yet. Because that afternoon, I got a call from Child Protective Services. "Mrs. Anderson?" "Yes." "This is Amanda from CPS. We received a report about your pregnancy and some concerning living conditions. Can we schedule a time to talk?" My blood went cold. "What kind of report?" "I can't give you details over the phone, but we need to conduct a home visit and interview you about your current situation." Someone had called CPS on me, and I had a pretty good idea who. "When do you need to come?" I asked. "Is tomorrow afternoon okay, around 2 p.m.? "Yes. But I need to tell you something first. I'm not currently living in the house that's on file. I'm staying with my mother due to a separation from my husband. Can you give me that address?" I did. Then I called my lawyer. "They called CPS on you?" she said, furious. "That's harassment. What do I do?" "You cooperate fully. Show them you're in a safe, clean environment. Show them you have prenatal care. Show them you have support. And then we add this to our case against your husband." "You think it was him? Who else would it be?" She was right. It had to be him or his family. The next day, Amanda from CPS arrived exactly at 2 p.m. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. "Thank you for meeting with me," she said. My mom offered her tea. We all sat down at the kitchen table. "Can you tell me about your current living situation?" Amanda asked. I explained everything. The pregnancy complications, the hospitalization, coming home to find my house destroyed, my husband's family living there without my knowledge, the separation. "Do you feel safe here?" she asked. "Yes, completely. And you're receiving prenatal care?" I showed her my appointment records, my discharge papers from the hospital, my upcoming appointment schedule. "Can I see where you're staying?" My mom showed her my room. Clean, comfortable, everything the baby would need already being set up in the corner. Amanda looked around and nodded. "This is a safe environment." We went back downstairs. "Can I ask who made the report?" I asked. "I can't tell you that specifically," she said, "but I can tell you the report claimed you were living in unsafe conditions, had inadequate prenatal care, and were emotionally unstable." "None of that is true," I said. "I can see that," she said gently. "Look, between you and me, we get calls like this sometimes during custody disputes. People trying to make the other person look bad. So what happens now? I'll file my report saying the claims were unfounded. The case will be closed, but keep documentation of everything. If this person calls again with false reports, that's harassment, and you can pursue legal action." After she left, I called my lawyer again. "Add it to the list," she said. "False CPS reports. We'll bring it up in the custody hearing." That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Did CPS visit you today?" I knew who it was immediately. "Is this really what you want to do?" I texted back. "Use our baby to try to hurt me? I just want my family back." "Then you should have thought about that before you destroyed it. You're keeping my baby from me." "No, you did this to yourself. The baby will have 2 parents, just not 2 parents together. I can't lose both of you." "You already did. Sign the papers." I blocked that number too, but he must have figured I would, because the next day, flowers showed up at my mom's house, and the day after that, and the day after that, different flowers each time, always with a note. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you." I threw them all away. Then the emails started. Long, rambling emails about how much he missed me, how he'd changed, how he wanted another chance. I forwarded them all to my lawyer and didn't respond. "He's getting desperate," she said. "That's good for us. Desperate people make mistakes." She was right, because 2 weeks later, he made his biggest mistake yet. I was at a doctor's appointment when my phone started blowing up. Messages from my brothers, my mom, even neighbors I barely knew. "Are you seeing this? Oh my God, did you know? Call me now." I excused myself from the waiting room and called my oldest brother. "What's going on?" "Check Facebook," he said. "Your husband posted something." I opened the app and felt my heart stop. He'd written a long post. public, visible to everyone, about how I'd had a mental health crisis and abandoned him, how I'd thrown his family out on the street, how I was keeping his baby from him. He'd painted himself as the victim, the concerned husband just trying to keep his family together while his crazy wife destroyed everything, and people were believing him. The post had hundreds of likes and comments. That bastard, I breathed. I screenshot the entire post and sent it to my lawyer. She called me back within minutes. "Oh, he's done now," she said. "This is defamation and harassment. And given that you have documentation proving everything he said is a lie, we're going to destroy him in court." What do I do? Nothing. Don't respond, don't comment, don't engage. Let him dig his own grave. So I did. I watched as his post got shared and shared, as his friends and family rallied around him, as he played the victim card for all it was worth. And then my lawyer sent out a public statement on my behalf. It was simple, just the facts. Hospital records showing I'd been admitted for severe dehydration during pregnancy. Bank statements showing he'd been hiding money transfers to his brother. Security footage timestamps showing his family had been living in our house for 2 weeks without my knowledge. And the CPS report showing their investigation had found zero evidence of the claims he'd made. We didn't include the video of his sister-in-law stealing. That was being saved for court. The statement went out to everyone who'd been tagged in his post. Every person who'd liked or commented, every mutual friend. Within an hour, his post was deleted. But by then, screenshots of my statement were everywhere. The narrative had flipped. My phone started ringing with calls from people apologizing, people who'd believed him at first, people who wanted to know if I needed anything. I didn't answer most of them, but I saved every message, every voicemail, every comment. More evidence. That night, my husband showed up at my mom's house again. This time, he was yelling, "You humiliated me. You destroyed my reputation." My brothers were there within minutes. The police right after. "You posted lies about me on social media," I said from the doorway. My brothers between us. I posted the truth. If the truth humiliates you, that's on you. Everyone thinks I'm a terrible person. You are a terrible person, I said calmly. You chose your brother over me. You lied to me. You hid money from me. You let them destroy our home. You called CPS with false reports. You posted lies about me online. Everything you're being judged for, you actually did. He stared at me like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Sign the papers," I said. "Stop dragging this out. Let us both move on." "I don't want to move on. I want my wife back." "That's not your decision anymore. It's mine, and I've already made it." The police escorted him off the property. As he was leaving, he turned back one last time. "You're going to regret this," he said. "The only thing I regret," I said, "is not leaving you sooner." That was the last time I saw him in person. The divorce papers were finalized 3 months later. I got the house. He got to keep his car and half of what was left in our savings account after he drained it for his brother. Custody was split 60/40 once the baby was born, with me having primary custody. He tried to fight it, but after everything that had come out during the proceedings, the judge wasn't sympathetic. The baby was born on a Tuesday in March. A healthy baby girl, 7 pounds 4 ounces. I named her Grace, because that's what got me through everything. Grace and the support of my family. My ex met her 3 days later. He came to the hospital with flowers and tears and apologies. I let him hold her for exactly 15 minutes. Then I took her back. "You'll get your visitation," I said, "but that's all you'll get from me." He nodded, still crying. As he was leaving, he turned back. "She's beautiful." "I know," I said. "I'm going to be a good father to her, I promise." "I hope so," I said, "for her sake." He left, and I sat there holding my daughter, looking at her perfect little face, and I knew I'd made the right choice. Not just leaving him, but choosing me and my baby over his demands and his family's dysfunction. I'd chosen us, and we were going to be okay. Better than okay, actually. Because now, sitting in my clean house with my daughter sleeping in my arms, I finally understood what my mom had meant when she said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them." My ex had shown me exactly who he was, and I'd believed him. He was someone who would always choose his family's comfort over mine. Someone who would lie and hide things. Someone who would put me second, third, fourth, however many places down I needed to be for him to avoid conflict. And I was someone who deserved better. Grace stirred in my arms, making little baby noises. I looked down at her and smiled. "It's just you and me, baby girl," I whispered, "and that's more than enough." But what I didn't know at the time was that this was far from over. Because 3 weeks later, my ex's brother and his wife got evicted from their motel, and they had nowhere to go. And they were desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. My phone rang at 2 a.m. on a Thursday night. It was my ex. "They're gone," he said. His voice was panicked. "They took her." I sat up so fast I almost dropped my phone. "Who took who?" "Brian and his wife. They took Grace." My heart stopped. "What?" "I had her for my visitation. I fell asleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. They left a note saying they were teaching you a lesson." I was already pulling on clothes, my hands shaking so bad I could barely button my jeans. "Call the police. Right now." I already did. "They're on their way." "I'm coming over." I woke up my mom and we drove to his apartment, going 20 over the speed limit the whole way. The police were already there when we arrived. My ex was on the porch looking absolutely destroyed. "Tell me everything," I demanded. I had her for the night. I put her down around 8. I fell asleep on the couch watching TV. When I woke up around 1:30, I went to check on her and she was gone. The window in her room was open. They left this. He handed me a crumpled piece of paper. "Since you care so much about babies, you can feel what it's like to worry about one. We'll bring her back when you apologize for ruining our lives." I read it 3 times before my brain could process what it actually said. They'd kidnapped my baby, my 3-week-old baby. "Where would they go?" the officer asked. "I don't know," my ex said. They don't have a place anymore. They've been staying in their car. What kind of car? Silver Honda Accord. 2008. The officer radioed it in. Within minutes, there was an Amber Alert going out. But I couldn't just stand there. I couldn't just wait. I'm going to look for them, I said. Ma'am, you should let us handle this. That's my baby. I cut him off. I'm going to look. My mom drove while I called everyone I could think of. Friends, family, anyone who might have seen them. We checked the motel where they'd been staying, the parking lot where I knew they sometimes slept in their car, every 24-hour store and gas station in a 10-mile radius. Nothing. 3 hours went by. The longest 3 hours of my life. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Stop looking for us. It was my sister-in-law. Where's my baby? I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She's fine. She's sleeping. If you hurt her, we're not gonna hurt her. Jesus, what kind of people do you think we are? The kind who kidnap babies, I said. We're trying to make a point. What point? That you're criminals? That you're insane? That you ruined our lives? We lost everything because of you. You lost everything because you destroyed my house and stole from me. This has nothing to do with my baby. Everything has to do with your baby. If you just let us stay, if you just helped us like family is supposed to, none of this would have happened. Bring her back, I said. Bring her back right now and maybe the police will go easy on you. She laughed. Actually laughed. We're not bringing her back until you apologize. I'm not apologizing for protecting myself and my child. Then I guess you'll never see her again. And she hung up. I immediately called the police and told them she'd called. They were able to trace it to a cell tower near the highway, heading south. They're running, the officer said. The chase went on for 6 more hours. 6 hours of pure hell. But then a highway patrol officer spotted them. The silver Honda, driving erratically on I-95. They pulled them over, found Grace in the back seat, still in her car seat, crying. My brother-in-law and his wife were arrested on the spot. Kidnapping, child endangerment, a dozen other charges. Grace was taken to the hospital to be checked over. She was dehydrated and had a bad diaper rash, but otherwise okay. When I finally got to hold her again, I broke down completely, just sobbed into her little shoulder while she made confused baby noises. I'm sorry, I kept saying. I'm so sorry. My mom put her hand on my back. This wasn't your fault. You did everything right, she said firmly. This was not your fault. My ex showed up at the hospital a few hours later. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. How did they get her? I asked. They had a key to my apartment. From before, when they stayed with me for a few days, I didn't know they still had it. You didn't change your locks after everything that happened? He didn't answer. Didn't need to. This is what happens when you don't set boundaries with them, I said. This is what happens when you keep letting them get away with things. I know. Do you? Do you really? Because your brother and his wife just kidnapped our daughter and you're still making excuses for them. I'm not. You are. You always have. And it almost cost me my baby. He sat down in the chair next to me, his head in his hands. What do I do? You cut them off, I said. Completely. You testify against them in court. You make sure they go to prison for what they did. They're my family. So is she, I said, looking down at Grace. And you need to choose. Right now. Are you going to protect your brother or your daughter? He looked at Grace, sleeping peacefully in my arms after everything she'd been through. Her, he said quietly. I choose her. Good, then prove it. And to his credit, he did. He testified at their trial, told the court everything. How they'd manipulated him for money, how they'd destroyed our house, how they'd stolen from us, how they'd kidnapped his daughter. Brian and his wife were convicted on all counts. They got 7 years each. 7 years before they'd even be eligible for parole. By the time they get out, Grace will be in 2nd grade. She won't even remember this, but I will. I'll always remember the worst night of my life. The divorce was finalized a month later. My ex signed over full custody without a fight. He'd get supervised visitation until Grace was older. I don't deserve her, he said as he signed the papers. No, I agreed. You don't, but you're her father. So we're going to have to figure out how to make this work. How? Therapy, boundaries, consistency. And the first time you put your brother before her, you lose all access. Understood? He nodded. It's been 6 months now. Grace is sleeping through the night. I'm back at work. My ex sees her every other weekend and Wednesday evenings. He's trying. Actually trying this time. He goes to therapy. He doesn't talk to his family anymore. He shows up on time and follows the rules. Is it perfect? No, but it's better than it was. My mother-in-law tried to reach out a few times, saying Brian and his wife were sorry, that they made a mistake, that family should forgive family. I sent her one message back. They kidnapped my daughter. There is no forgiveness for that. Lose my number. She hasn't contacted me since. Make sure to click on the screen to watch other stories.